Hey guys, so in today's pro tip episode, I just wanted to take a quick moment and talk about something that is, very rampant, and that is plastics. And I really wanted to discuss this and how it can actually affect your health overall. Many of us probably have read different information regarding plastics and the fact that they could actually cause problems when we consume them. But I just wanted to go over kind of what these problems are and exactly how you could actually help avoid yourself from being exposed to these different plastic exposures. So first, when we look at plastics, this is a very generic and large term, but really what is a plastic and how can it affect our health? When we look at plastics, we know that these products could actually leach into our foods and our drinks. So this commonly means like a water bottle, for instance. If you're daily drinking water that is coming from a plastic water bottle, yes, it's convenient. However, these plastics are actually going to be broken down and actually get into the water, and then ultimately we are going to drink them in ourselves. This also goes into the same consideration when we think about foods that we're eating. Say we put our food in a plastic container or already came in a plastic bag, now we're throwing it in the microwave, heating it, and tiny plastic particles are going to leach into our food once again, then we eat it and it's going to incorporate into our bodies. So really, what is the problem with this? Well, a lot of the different plastics we see, one of the major things that happens is these plastics, as they break down, could actually mimic estrogen in our body. A lot of the different molecules from plastic look pretty much identical to estrogen to the body. So what then happens is it could actually then stimulate the whole hormone cascade of estrogen in the body. So we're going to start upregulating the signals of estrogen when it is in our body, and this could actually contribute to a whole host of disease. We see that these types of estrogens that are coming from outside of the body, once they do start increasing their levels, we see different things happening, such as cancers forming, could increase in different immune responses. We just see a whole host of disease stemming from these different molecules. So let's look into exactly what some of these molecules are by name. So most of us, the most common one that we probably have heard of is something called BPA, or bisphenol A. This has really been around in research quite a bit for some time, and once again, this directly mimics estrogen. And once we do see it in our body, we could see it relating to childhood problems. We could see it linked to ADHD. We could see it linked to different cancers. We could see it stimulating the immune system, ultimately potentially adding to different types of autoimmune reactivities. So this is just a very problematic product that is within our plastics as we are using them. So however, now a lot of different companies got smart, because most of us started realizing, okay, BPA is bad, because we saw the research, we saw the literature. So they started removing BPA from plastic. So now many a times you could go out and buy a plastic bottle that says, hey, I'm BPA free. However, this really did not fix the problem. There's still a lot of other additives within plastics, such as BPB and other types of plastics like PVC. We see acrylics, we see polyesterines, we see phthalates. There's just a lot of other products that plastics are composed of, and these still have similar effects. So yes, it may be BPA free, but it still has other factors in it that are going to contribute and cause the exact same type of problems. So really, just having this BPA free logo and removing it did not solve the actual issue. So this is something that we just want to keep in mind when we are using plastics. And ultimately, I'd say, just don't even use plastics, because you're going to be exposing yourselves to these chemicals if you're going to be utilizing them. We know that if you are heating plastics, such as in plastic containers and food, you're going to be increasing even more absorption of these plastics into your foods and drinks that you're consuming. But however, even at room temperature, I just don't think it's really worth the risk of being exposed to these different types of plastics. The bad part is these bioaccumulate in our bodies. So yes, just one day you're drinking one water bottle, it's a tiny micro dose, but then the next day you do the same thing, and then you go to heat up your food, and then you go get rice that comes in a pre-microwave plastic bag that you could just heat up really quickly and eat. And time after again, you're just going to be continuously exposing yourself to these small dosages of plastic, and these small dosages add up over time to large dosages that are going to be in your body, and then cause these whole cascades of different diseases, like we said, by being a toxin, by mimicking estrogen, and just a whole host of disease. And we don't even know the full extent of what happens when we stimulate these estrogen-like signals within the body. I mean, we do know that it's going to be stimulating these, but I mean, the cascade of what estrogen does in a cellular process once inside the cell, I mean, it's huge. It has, I mean, just tons and tons of fold increase of different mechanisms that are happening within the body, and we don't know fully the extent of what these plastic like residues are actually creating within the cells. So I mean, it's just a scary thought of, I mean, the full extent of what could even happen. So what to now do? I mean, obviously plastic is bad for us. We don't really want to be consuming it. So how do we avoid it and really try to keep our health better? I mean, just first overall concept is, yes, just avoid it. I mean, just don't use something that comes in a plastic container. So one of the biggest areas where we are exposed to plastic is probably drinking water bottles. I mean, today, especially like here in the United States where I live, most water bottles or most water that you're going to be purchasing from a store, and yes, we need water, is going to be packaged in a plastic water bottle. So one thing you could do is go out and buy yourself a nice alternative bottle, such as like a hydro flask, something that is high quality steel, that's not going to leach, or even a glass bottle is highly preferred. And you could put your water into these types of containers. This is something that's great because, yes, you're going to be improving your overall health, but you're also going to help reduce the plastic consumption that's happening around the world, and something that is truly, I mean, just harming our earth as well, just due to the overuse of plastics. I mean, it's everywhere. The next piece that I would say is just your food containers. Go out and buy yourself a nice, high quality glass container. You could often find these, I mean, on online stores. You could find them as well as different discount stores such as like Home Goods, and you can find them for a pretty cheap and reasonable price. And I mean, just ultimately, you're going to help increase your health by doing so. Other places that we are also exposed to different plastics are areas such as like our cooking utensils as well. We don't realize, I mean, maybe the spatula that we're using, or even at times pots that we're using, they have this plastic coating on it to make it not stick to our foods, which, yeah, it's nice and convenient when you're cooking, but ultimately it's still going to be breaking down and getting into our food as well. These are really kind of three of the primary areas that I feel like you could start with in terms of removing plastics from your body. And just, you will notice, I mean, that you could help just one, feel better. Two, I mean, you're going to help prevent different disease from manifesting in the future because you're not going to be constantly exposing yourself to these plastics. So this is just a quick overview of plastics, how they can harm your body, and different things that you do. So I hope this information helped. Thank you.